Hey everyone, what's up? This week we're going to be talking about retirement income and how much do I need in retirement. I get asked this question all of the time, and I've helped hundreds of people throughout my career figure out how much they need in retirement. And it's actually one of my most favorite parts, or it always was one of my most favorite parts of my job when I was working in corporate America as a financial advisor. I loved sitting down with people and helping them to run the numbers of how much they actually need. There was a common thread that regardless of how much they had, the majority of people feel like they didn't have enough. So I just always took them back to the numbers. Like, let's look at the plan. Let's see where you're at, what you're spending, and what that looks like. And that just gives people a lot of security because there's a lot of transparency in math, right? You just put in the numbers and see what they say. I've used a ton of financial calculators, and I found one that's really simple and it's really nice. It's from Smart Asset, so I'm gonna link it below. That's what I recommend that you start with today after watching this video, or if you just wanna pause it and go there, you can see what I'm talking about. There's a few things that you wanna ask yourself when you're trying to figure out how much you need. How much am I spending now? Do I see myself continuing to spend this much later, or do I want to spend more or less? If you're uncertain, just go with what you're spending now. You could adjust it every single year. Just go in there. If you're making more money, that means maybe you'll have a little bit more to save. Maybe you'll have a little bit more to spend later. Those kinds of tweaks can be made on an annual basis. I would say do this at least once a year, if not more.
I just wanted to give you a quick peek at this retirement calculator. It's going to prompt you to go through some questions. Once you do that, you can make adjustments here on the left-hand side. Savings details, let's say you've got some money saved up. You can change your return here. So see how I did that? I expanded this here. I think they default you to 4%. 6% is probably safe to plan for because historically speaking, we've gotten that return over time. They show you how much you'll have and how much you'll need. Here, if you're retiring at 60, you're gonna need a lot more than if you're retiring at, say, 70.
We all have different spending habits. We all have different savings habits. We all are gonna retire at different times. So I don't understand why there's this is how much you should have. It's so different. And I've run plans for people that have $500,000 and were perfectly fine and comfortable throughout their whole lives. And I've run plans for people with millions of dollars. And it really just comes down to what you're spending. You should have as much as you want to have so that you feel comfortable. Planning for this allows you to have that option, that flexibility of what do I want my lifestyle to be like versus not planning. And then you're just gonna be stuck living on whatever you end up with. It's definitely not an ideal situation. I would say just get started and start building that momentum. In my next video, I'm gonna show you what type of account to open, how to decide, and what your options are and that sort of thing. So make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for next week's video where we'll be discussing more of the logistics. I read this book called The 4-Hour Workweek. What I took from that book is this idea of mini retirements throughout your life. So the old school way of planning for retirement is working your entire life and then retiring for the rest of it. In this book, Tim Ferriss talks about having mini retirements throughout your life. That would be like working, saving up enough money to quit your job for a certain amount of time, then using that money during that time, and then going back to work. The point of that is you can kind of go through life like that, like work, quit, support yourself, work, quit, support yourself. Or you could do the traditional sense where you're like work, and then quit and enjoy your life. The calculator can help you understand that. So go through, I just calculated what would it be like to spend $100,000 per year in retirement starting from age 60 and living to 100. Then you can kind of just work your way backwards. If you want to live on $40,000 a year, do that. Whatever it is, you can just tweak the numbers and start somewhere. And then if it's too unrealistic, like if it's asking you to save $500 a month and you're like, that's just not possible, then tone it down a bit and see what that looks like. And know that what you're saving now doesn't necessarily mean you'll be saving that 3 years from now. You might get a better job, you might increase your income or reduce your expenses in different ways. That's why it's important to do it every single year, because your life circumstances are going to change. Think of this as like a flowing plan that gets you to the point of having the options versus not. I've got a link to some Social Security stats, because if you don't plan, if there's Social Security left, you're probably going to be like the 44% of people that depend on Social Security for 90% of their income or more. So I'll show you those stats. It's kind of like, you just don't want to be in that position. Obviously, I think everybody knows, like, you don't want to be living off Social Security or your friends or family. That's kind of what happens to some people as they age that just never started planning. And I don't want to see that happen to you. So I'm just trying to help you out. Start small, start with whatever it is that you have. One thing that I always did when I first started saving was I would just move some money directly from my checking account into my savings account every single time I made a sacrifice. So if I went to dinner, or if I didn't go to dinner because I was like, okay, I'm gonna save this money, I would immediately move that money to my savings account. If I didn't get a Starbucks or something, I would move that $4 that I would have spent into my savings account. So it stopped feeling like a sacrifice and started feeling rewarding to actually give up those experiences, because I started just funneling that money into my savings account. And then next week I'll show you what to do with that savings, how to tuck it away for retirement. There are so many options. Like I said, we will address those next week, but I just want to get you started to think about this and actually run your numbers. A lot of people haven't done this yet, and I love it. It's fun. And let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and be sure to follow me on social media. I do give tips from time to time throughout the week, and I'll see you on the next video.